To my incredible team, I welcome all of you, and I thank the new lab for hosting us here today. Is this not the coolest space you could ever find? I've been here before. I think this is extraordinary. And in just speaking to Sean Stewart, let's give him a shout out. Sean Stewart, the CEO. Over 900 people working here, over 200 startups. This is exactly what we had in mind when we first were talking about the possibilities of what we could do here. And so I'm energized by this as well. Also, I'm very delighted to be joined by the elected officials who I'll reference again in a couple of minutes, but what great leaders they are as well. I want to thank all of our leaders. Senator Parker is on his way here. He claims there's a little bit of traffic. That's such a New York City excuse. I'm not buying it anymore. Start your day earlier, Senator. Sorry about that. Put the filters back on, Hochul. Senator Ramos, thank you for getting up in time to be here. And Pat Fahey, who came all the way down from Albany to be here, she's on time. I want to thank her for her leadership as well. And LaToya Joyner, you've been an incredible leader on our labor issues as well. I want to thank you. I know Mike Cusick is getting here, a little bit of traffic too. Okay. Brian Cunningham, same excuse. I'd say a good thing. I mean, it means people are back. Okay. I will accept traffic any day of the week because it means this city is back. And so we're okay with it. And Bobby Carroll as well. John Murphy, thank you for your leadership of the New York State pipe trades. But this is so important, not just to your members, but all the people who are going to be lifted up by the thousands of jobs created by our continued partnership, but also bringing together the environmental community, the climate action community, and labor together. That's when we hit the sweet spot. That's when we say we can get to a better future, but also lifting people up with good paying jobs so their families can live the American dream just like mine did because of labor. So to John and all of our partners, Gary LaBarbera, Mario Salento, and other leaders, we so appreciate all their work again. And again, to all of our brothers and sisters in labor. I also want to mention a couple things that we've experienced here today, or witnessing as it's unfolding, the horrific shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. And it just seems to go on and on and on. And how many times can hearts be broken? How many more tears have to be shed? Because the insanity of gun violence and its captivation and its stranglehold on so many individuals and organizations in this country is just, it's appalling. And it's a national embarrassment for us as we think about the rest of the world. They have the same challenges in life. They have struggles. They have mental health challenges. And the only difference is the incredible access to weapons, especially weapons of mass destruction that belong nowhere but a battlefield. And I think it's about high time we say that we were safer when there was a national assault weapon ban in our nation, and why we don't have the courage to get back to that place where we respect the rights of lawful gun owners, this hunting community, the sports community. We understand all this, and we'll never touch those rights. But who said back when this country was founded, we just celebrated the birth of America, that our founding fathers envisioned that this many years away, that they would expect people to claim a right to an assault weapon. So let's just start talking about how we reclaim our country, how we start saving lives, and get back to the nation that we all cherish and love. Thank you. 309 mass shootings thus far this year, 12th this month. Do I need to remind you what date this is? It's July 5th, 12th this month. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share that with you, because this has been on my mind, especially as I just spoke to someone up in Buffalo, and things are still tough back in our hometown too. So a lot going on, but there's a place of energy here, a place of optimism. That's what I love about this place, that there is no problem that we can't conquer when we put our minds to it, and we have incredible technologists and others who are really working hard to lead us to a different future. And that's what I'm hoping with what I just spoke about, a different future where we value life more than guns, but also a place we also protect our environment, where we value the lives of future generations as much as those today. And that is what today is all about, valuing human life. And I think about why this is so important to me personally, because, you know, we've been set back a lot by our federal government, our Supreme Court, I should say. We've tried to have gun laws in place. We had a gun law in place for over 100 years here in New York, 100 years, restricting who can have a concealed carry weapon. Supreme Court decided, no, you can't do that, you can't restrict that. Well, we'll still figure out the best way we can. And just another Supreme Court decision that talked about taking away rights to women to make decisions about their own bodies. That was last week as well. So we've had the guns, control of our own bodies, liberty I call that. But also the attack on the Environmental Protection Agency's responsibilities to protect all of us from pollution. And pollution is almost an old-fashioned word, except that was the world I grew up in. My world was polluted. My dad worked at the steel plant. My grandpa worked at the steel plant. We drive by day, and you could not see the color of the sky. In fact, as a little kid, I thought the sky was always orange, because that was the smoke, the pollution, the toxins billowing out. And people lived there and worked there, and no one paid attention to it. And then there was Lake Erie and other Great Lakes, largest freshwater bodies on the planet. And the stench of the dead fish killed by the pollution was so overpowering, and yet it was our place to swim. We went down there, and at night you could see, it looked like molten lava being dumped into the lake, and no one said a word. It was all about just keeping those factories going. No one thought of a place like New Lab where you can innovate new technologies to create steel and create factories that were not contaminating the world of the day and also the world of the future. But then something happened. A guy named President Nixon. Who would have thought we'd be talking about him? It's all about comparisons, I guess. 1970. You know, the states weren't doing their job. You know, Congress wasn't able to stop the assault on our environment. The Environmental Protection Agency was created to protect people. And it made a huge difference. They're supposed to have oversight and regulations and be smart about things, not shut down industries, but also find ways that they can do things in a smarter, cleaner way. And you know the difference it makes? Not long ago, I was swimming in that lake, and I didn't see any dead fish. It was beautiful. You could see to the bottom. The air was pristine. A generation later, because the federal government established the Environmental Protection Agency, we live in a better place today. And yet the Supreme Court says we don't have enough people carrying guns, don't think we can make decisions about our own bodies. They also decided we don't need to protect the future, protect our planet from greenhouse gas emissions. So that's the world we live in. But this is New York. Another challenge, another day, we get through it. And we figure out solutions. And so today we're going to be signing 3 bills into law. I love bill signings. I have a lot of pens. And we're going to... These bills will be doing a major step forward in reducing our greenhouse gas emissions and also advance the clean energy industry in our state. Because as you all know, we have the most ambitious renewable energy and emission reduction goals in the country. 70% of renewable by 2030. You know what, long time ago, I didn't know if we're all gonna make it to 2030. That's just around the corner. That is happening soon, that is tomorrow. 70% of electricity from renewables in 2030. 85% emission reduction by 2050, and we are on the way to get there. So these are not just pie in the sky dreams. These are gonna become a reality. So we're proud of these goals. And here in New York, we are not letting the Supreme Court block our goals or our bold ambition for our state. And we do need the collaboration I just spoke about, the environmental justice community, the climate action community, and labor all at the same table, and that's what we're doing today. So bringing together these groups, we're going to be talking about the legislation and why they're so good. And I want to thank Senator Parker, Senator Parker, have you made it here yet? All right, you'll be up soon. Senator Parker, Patricia Fahey, thank you for the Advanced Building Codes, Appliance, and Equipment Efficiency Standards Act of 2022. It is a mouthful, but that is going to upgrade. Can you come up with a shorter name for me next time? Okay. I'll work at the next session, new day, New York. Okay, we're going to have a little shorter titles. We're going to be updating our building codes. What does that mean? It's going to help reduce greenhouse emissions from buildings all across the state, because the biggest contributor of emissions are buildings. We've known that. We've recognized that. And now we're doing something about that. That's 1/3 of the state's total emissions, greenhouse emissions. Also, this will help our New Yorkers save on energy costs. Boy, does that sound good at a time when our citizens are getting slammed with inflation, high cost of living, and any way we can reduce their costs is so important to them. So help them with their energy costs and rising bills. And New Yorkers, because of this, and I don't know if this was the intent originally, but expected to save, New Yorkers are going to save $15 billion. That includes $6 billion for low and moderate income households at a time when that is so critically important for them. Stronger energy codes also will give us $2.5 billion in lifetime savings for homeowners and through our measures through 2030. So that is significant. I want to applaud you. I know Senator Parker's on his way, but stand up and take a bow. Assembly Member Pat Fahey, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our second bill, the Utility Thermal Energy Network and Jobs Act, a little shorter, a little tighter. I'm liking that one. This will unlock tremendous job opportunities while reducing harmful emissions from buildings. It also replaces fossil fuel underground pipe system for new clean energy systems. And I think the pipe trades like the sound of that one as well. You're going to be busy. Keep those people trained, Joe. We got to have a lot more jobs for people. That'll also support $22.5 million in NYSERDA funding to support thermal energy development. This is an exciting new area. It really, truly is when you think about it. Unlocking the possibilities, harnessing that power source and working really in a smart way. So we've also, $15 million has been committed for future studies, detailed designs, and construction projects as well. So I know that's going to help protect our environment with lots of good jobs, and we know we like the sound of that. And I mentioned jobs a few times. We are anticipating that there'll be over 286,000 clean energy jobs by the year 2050. We are well on our way there already. And I talk about this when I meet young people all the time about how that we need to lift people out of their circumstances, neighborhoods where you don't have role models. You need to get people into these job training programs, the apprenticeship programs that I believe in to my core, but also to diversify this workforce. So I start seeing more Black and brown young men and women in these programs. And I'm going to put the emphasis on women, too. I want to see more women in these jobs. And I know there's been an intentionality from the labor unions to make that happen. So I thank them. So we also are going to be talking about our next bill. Bill 3 will have solar panel jobs filled by union workers that pay really well, because now, going forward, they'll be subject to the prevailing wage. This is really important to make sure that as we create these new industries, create these jobs, that those jobs are able to sustain families. So having the prevailing wage apply to this work with the solar panels is going to be really important as well. So I want to thank everyone involved in that. So we're going to continue working to make sure that we don't stand on the sidelines. I think we've kind of send out our message here today to the Supreme Court. Okay, this is New York. Do what you want, but we're going to do everything we can to protect our lives, our families, our bodies, as well as our planet's future. And I think all of us, I know all of us are proud to be New Yorkers, to continue that mantle of leadership as the rest of the nation looks and wanders, looking for people that'll actually step up and fight back. And that's what we're doing here today with this legislation. So we are the first generation to really feel the effects of climate change. We're also the last one that can do anything about it. That's the weight that's on our shoulders, and that is why New York will continue leading our nation into the clean energy future. We're also building on what we've already started. I need all of your support when we go forth this November with the $4.2 billion Clean Water, Clean Air, Green Jobs, Environmental Bond Act. I think that's critically important that we explain to people what this will do for their families in the short term, but also for the jobs we'll create, the smart decisions we make, but also to protect our environment for the future. This is an investment that's going to say who we are as New Yorkers. This is a priority of ours. And I want everyone to commit their support to fight for this November as well. And also, we've been talking about other energy sources. Offshore wind, our $500 million commitment for offshore wind to create that supply chain. One reason I really am excited about the supply chain is because I'm sick and tired of being held captive to foreign supply chains. Why something can't get done? Why aren't we building more electric vehicles? Oh, the chips come from Southeast Asia. Well, why aren't we making them here? Well, the future says we make them here. And that is something I'm working very closely with Senator Schumer on to bring chip fabrication to New York State. I want to make sure that we are independent. I don't ever want to be held captive to anyone else. So we'll be doing this as well. Also, major projects. We have 22 major large-scale energy projects under development. So these are big, they're bold, they're ambitious, but it's what we do. Because as I'm fond of saying, if not now, when? This is our moment, New Yorkers. This is our moment to stand up, meet this challenge, and blow right past it. And let generations from now look back at us and a place where they say, how did this state, this city that was hit so hard by the pandemic and had so many other challenges, how did they just rise up and say, we're focused on the challenges today, but we still have an eye on the future. Our eyes are still on the future. And that is what we'll be known for. That's what we'll be known for. And that's how you'll be able to tell your kids and grandkids that you made a major role in making sure that this planet was there, it was safe, it was beautiful, you could swim, you could breathe the air, and it all happens in rooms like this, and with bills like this, and with leaders. And again, I'm going to call out Senator Ramos, Pat Fahey, Latoya Joyner, and Senator Parker for their vision. These are today's visionaries. They're making things happen. I'm really proud as the governor of New York to be able to sign into law very shortly the bills that they all work so hard on. So thank you very much. And I don't know if Senator Parker's here next. All right, going once, going twice. Then I'll bring Senator Ramos up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Governor. And good morning. Is labor in the house? Yes, working families are winning big today. We're so often the ones who both do the work and bear the brunt of the climate crisis. You know, I come from both the labor movement and an environmental justice community. When Hurricane Ida hit in September of last year, the governor spent 3 days in my community with my neighbors assessing the damage, and it was the building trades who volunteered to clear my neighbors' homes. And for that, I'm ever grateful. Clearly, we're the team and we are all the stewards of our planet, and why taking action today and every day on climate change, creating good jobs, is so important. Ultimately, I believe that it's the trades who we trust to ignite the pace at which we must transition to renewables, and hopefully soon public renewables. Labor must be front and center in a Green New Deal. And with the bill that the governor is signing today, we'll be able to ensure that even small solar projects will be paid, the workers on those projects will be paid prevailing wage, because that is the right thing to do when there are subsidies on projects. And as we work harder and faster towards our climate goals, we know that there's only one way to do it. And that way is to do it union, to do it all the way union. So with that, I really just want to thank the governor. I want to thank my majority leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, and of course, Speaker Hastie, my amazing counterpart in the Assembly, the Labor Chair, Assemblywoman Latoya Joyner, and John Murphy. I know Santos is here from the building trades. You guys have been amazing partners in this endeavor and so many others. And Lisa Dix, thank you and your coalition for really bringing this common ground, common sense solution towards moving towards our climate goals that much closer to reality. I'm really looking forward to seeing New York back to work, making sure that we are building more, building better, and saving our planet as we do it. Thank you so much.
Please welcome to the podium Assemblymember Pat Fahey. Good morning. Thank you for telling me I'm next. I also want to start with a side note as well, and just thank the governor for her leadership. It has been, despite the holiday, it has been an amazing last few days. When I read about the latest massacre from my hometown, I'm from Chicago, but from near my hometown. When I read about it yesterday, I said, thank God for New York. Thank God that we have the leadership. Thank God that we are tackling gun violence. So, Governor, just in the last few days, your leadership on guns, your leadership on women's rights, particularly reproductive rights, I just want to say thank you. And now on the environment, we're just covering all bases, and I so appreciate it. Senator Parker, I really appreciate his leadership, as well as our energy chair, Mike Cusick, who has been just a real champion on energy. I couldn't be more pleased to have sponsored this bill and worked with NYSERDA, worked with DEC, worked with so many of the agencies. I listed a host of the environmental groups that really made a difference on this bill. And I guess if I read them out, I'm going to offend somebody. But I went back this morning reading all the bill memos of support going back over a year ago. And in some ways, 2 years is really not that long on environmental legislation. I have many other environmental bills that have been waiting many more years. So in some ways, this is record speed. But this one matters. And maybe that's why the title of it is so long. It's the Advanced New York State Energy Code and a building, I'm struggling too. See, I'm still tripping on it. And adopting efficiency appliances, better appliances. But the bottom line is it will save billions of dollars in energy savings, and that savings ends up back in the pocketbook of consumers. Reducing energy helps us all, but in the end, this also will help with saving money for consumers. It's no longer a matter of if, it is now a matter of when, since, as the governor said, buildings alone are responsible for so much of our greenhouse gas emissions. So just tackling that is going to make tremendous difference, and we know when we do it here in New York, it will have a ripple effect. Appliances, whether they're TVs, computers, lamps, air purifiers, you name it, improving the efficiency there will have a ripple effect as well for those products being sold around the country. So when we lead, others follow. I couldn't be more thrilled. A couple of years ago, I had a bill called, we referred to it as the Vampire Electronics Bill. This bill takes it to a whole other level. And as I've read, when appliance standards are the best climate and energy policy you've never heard of. So that's the kind of ripple effect. The bottom line is this will help create jobs, this will help consumers, and in the end, it really is about saving the planet. So thank you to so many. Thank you, Senator Parker. I'm getting to introduce him, I guess, Senator. I already thanked you for your leadership on this bill. Now I guess I get to introduce you. But these bills do matter. There's so many more. It is this multi-pronged approach that will make a difference. And I am just so proud to be the sponsor of this and to help lead, because we don't have time. The sooner the better on every one of these bills. So thank you again, Governor, for hosting this and for your leadership on so many issues. Thank you.
Please welcome to the podium, Senator Parker.
Good morning. I'm State Senator Kevin Parker. I represent the 21st District in Brooklyn, which is Flatbush and East Flatbush, Midwood, Ditmas Park, Windsor Terrace, and Park Slope. I am the Majority Whip in the New York State Senate, as well as the Chairman of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee. And really just honored and pleased to be here with my colleagues for this really, really important announcement. And let me just begin with saying teamwork makes the dream work. And this is all possible because legislators worked together, saw a common vision, and more importantly, put their egos aside to focus on ways that we can, in fact, advance the work that needed to be done. And so, although they're thanking me, let me thank my colleagues in government, Senator Ramos, Assemblymember Fahey, Assemblymember Joyner, for their intrepid leadership in their houses and for continuing to be supportive of each other, because people don't recognize how hard it is to get 76 votes in the Assembly and 32 votes in the Senate to move things forward. And of course, let's give a big round of applause to our governor, Kathy Hochul. Who literally by the day is proving herself to be a champion for climate change and dealing with this crisis. We are in a crisis. And in light of two things that are really important, one, the tipping point that we hit last July in terms of the global temperature changing in our planet. And then now the Supreme Court decision around gutting the EPA as it relates to climate change, this legislation is even more important than ever. The states have to lead. And here in the Empire State, we have had a long tradition of leading, and certainly Kathy Hochul is our leader on this important issue. And so thank you again for bringing us together today. Again, the CLCPA, as my colleagues have pointed out, is our ruling guide for how we're going to deal with the climate change crisis and how we're going to build a clean energy economy. These two bills that we're signing into law today take us further. There is a lot of granular work that has to be done here in terms of changing our law. And these bills are a part of that. But we have to understand that it's going to be an all of the above approach. That is just not as simple as just simply banning all carbon-based fuels today, and then tomorrow we're going to transition into a clean energy economy. We have to get clean energy economy, in terms of generation in the ground. We have to work with the utilities to have good interconnections and make that process smoother. We are going to need to make sure our transmission system is better. We're going to have to teach demand response to all of the folks in our communities, and we have 2.5 million vehicles that we're going to have to make cleaner than they are right now in less than 20 years. And we haven't even talked about what's happening on the water with boats and other things, right? And so there's a lot of work to do. But I'm happy that we have a set of legislators and a governor. And even a Secretary of State who believes in this, and really understands that we're only going to be able to get this done if we get it done together. And so thank you for including me in the program. Thank you for signing these bills into law. And after we get done in this and finish, patting ourselves on the back, let's get to work on the next set of things that have to be done to deal with this important crisis. God bless you all.
Please welcome to the podium Assemblymember LaToya Joyner.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I want to thank the governor and appreciate her leadership and laser focus on getting real results for our real people and focusing on real issues. I want to thank Senator Parker, who is clearly the champion on all of these issues. And specifically, I wanted to give a shout out to all of the Coalition of Environmental Advocates and labor unions who made today happen. Special thanks to Ms. Lisa, John Murphy, thank you so much. The plumbers, the pipe fitters, the sprinkler fitters union, and the Alliance for Green Economy, We Act, NYPIRG, and the Utility Workers Union. Thank you so much. We were able to get this over the finish line in record speed, as Pat said, with 2 days left to session. So we were able to get it all done because of all of your work. And, today represents the perfect union, no pun intended, and united front to advance the state's climate policy goals while also maintaining good paying union jobs. And as the chair of labor, this is very important to me. I'm very happy and grateful to be part of today's effort to meet our climate goals while also saving prevailing wage jobs, creating efficient and affordable renewable thermal energy systems that will truly benefit all New Yorkers. So great to be here today and looking forward to also getting a pen as well. Thank you.
Please welcome to the podium John Murphy, International Representative for the United Association of Pipe Trades.
Good afternoon, everyone. The journey to a clean energy future requires an all-of-the-above strategy, utilizing any and all innovation available to us that will help New York achieve its climate goals. Equally important is to find common ground between labor, climate justice advocates, and related industries. As New York State forges a path to decarbonization, it is critical that workers in new green industries are paid a fair wage and that workers in the fossil fuel industry are not left behind. Under the leadership of New York State Building Trades President Gary LaBarbera and New York State AFL-CIO President Mario Salento, and in partnership with Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Legislature, labor standards are front and center on these climate bills. The expansion of prevailing wage on solar projects above 1 megawatt will immediately better the standard of life for workers all across the state of New York. The adoption of the Utility Thermal Energy Network and Jobs Act is both unprecedented and transformational, as it will provide a just transition for thousands of middle-class New Yorkers who are at risk of being excluded from the green energy transition. Thermal energy networks will scale building decarbonization and reduce costs for customers with little impact to the electric grid, even during peak periods. We are grateful that Governor Kathy Hochul's shared vision for a clean energy future was met with enthusiasm by the state legislature. Their hard work and partnership with Governor Hochul's actions will help New York preserve and create thousands of well-paying jobs, lower utility bills, and achieve its clean energy goals and objectives for years to come. Thank you.
And please welcome Lisa Dix, New York Director of the Building Decarbonization Coalition.
Well, I'm really honored and humbled to be here today among so many amazing advocates and amazing state leaders, legislators, and the governor. I just wanted to say that I think today's theme really kind of hits at the core of why New York is such a national leader on climate change and on workers, uplifting workers across the state. Today's theme shows that New York has a serious commitment to reducing our carbon emissions while ensuring that our workers and our communities are not going to get left behind in the climate transition. And so that's the theme of the bills today that the governor is going to be able to sign. The Advanced Codes and Standards Bill is really going to help implement the governor's bold commitment in her State of the State to electrify and make electric ready 2 million homes by 2030. As folks have talked about today, you know, we've got a lot of buildings to decarbonize in New York. And thank you to Senator Parker and Assemblywoman Fahey. This bill sets us on the pathway to make sure that we are really going to accelerate and hit those targets. The solar bill is an amazing bill. You know, in the electric sector, we have some really great precedents on how we're going to be able to ensure that we're going to scale clean energy and make sure that there's labor standards for each and everything. And this is just another step in the right direction. So thank you to Senator Ramos and Assemblywoman Joyner for really helping us get that over the finish line. And finally, I just want to say that I am so unbelievably proud of the effort for that a coalition came together mid-session to really figure out how we were going to scale building decarbonization, how we're going to think of ways in which we were going to pave that transition pathway for workers, gas utility workers, how we were going to meet our environmental and climate targets in the state at scale, and how we were going to figure out what was the utility pathway. So the utilities, all of them in New York, the labor unions, all of them with the leadership of the AFL-CIO, the New York State Building and Construction Trades, and the pipe trades, the utility workers came together with amazing advocates from the climate justice movement and environmental movement in New York, with the Sierra Club, with the League of Conservation Voters, with the Alliance for a Green Economy, and Align, and We Act for Environmental Justice. This coalition put together an amazing vision, what then was passed almost unanimously in the Assembly and unanimously in the Senate. And thanks to the leadership of Assemblywoman Joyner and Senator Parker, I am just absolutely thrilled today that we are going to get to sign this bill and really start this transformation in scaling building decarbonization and really ensuring that New York's workforce is going to stay union throughout all of the efforts to transition our economy and to fight climate change. Thank you.
The governor will now sign the bills and take some photos. Please remain seated for the entire duration until the last photo has been taken. Thank you.